AI is going to destroy everything. And I mean this as literally as a person can mean it, because we've all seen Sora, OpenAI's text to video model, which produces photorealistic video in just a couple of seconds. And it's super cool, it's fun, but it needs to be stopped. But it won't be, because we are going to allow tech companies to destroy the entire planet. It's going to destroy the middle class, and it's going to plunge the globe into a post-apocalyptic wasteland where only a handful of families control everything. And you might feel like I'm overreacting, but if you watch this video all the way through to the end, you will think differently. Because the problem with AI is that it's developed by big tech. And big tech is the biggest perpetrator of evil by accident to have ever existed. Because when big tech companies revolutionize an industry, what they actually do is they tap into talent and infrastructure and services that already exist, and they develop a platform that more efficiently uses these services, infrastructure, and talent to make things more convenient. But that convenience comes at the loss of security of actual human beings. A great example of what this looks like is Uber. They innovated nothing. Taxi cabs already existed, passengers did, so did the roads that were used to get those passengers from point A to point B. All Uber did was come in and create a platform that cut from underneath the drivers their workplace benefits, and it had them driving people around for less money. And through really clever marketing, it had riders feel like this was a better way to do things. Airbnb did this with hotels, Netflix did this with TV shows and movies, and every tech company does this, and AI will be no different, except that it is going to be on steroids that cannot be controlled. But in order to really understand how dangerous of a situation we are in, you need to understand how these tech companies grow a new product so that it has market saturation, because they all do the exact same thing. In the early days of a new technology, it's all about new user acquisition and growth. And in order to get new users, a product actually has to be new, revolutionary, and good. And in the early days of all tech companies, they were this way. You don't acquire users if it's not. Netflix, Uber, Airbnb, DoorDash, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of these in their early days were amazing services. Way better than the alternatives, and that's why they grew so fast, and this isn't by mistake. And during this growth phase, these services are either insanely cheap or they're free, and it's all so that they can grow as quickly as possible. And during this time, companies are actually losing money on the product that they're building and the service that they're offering. In the case of OpenAI, they're taking a big L on operating costs because this is expensive to run, but it doesn't matter because they're trying to grow and saturate the market. And we are in this insanely cheap, accessible phase so that everybody can get a taste. And this is the model of growth that all of these companies have always used. But then once the company has market saturation, prices go up, a lot of the core features that made these services really amazing in the first place go away, and what people were so excited about in the first place doesn't feel the same, but it doesn't matter because any alternatives have either gone out of business or become completely irrelevant. And all of this happens because tech companies are focused on one thing: making the next $1 billion. They're not focused on making people's lives better, but that's the marketing feeling that you get and the lie that they tell you to get you on board. And AI is no different, but when you look at how this model is being applied to AI in terms of its growth, the picture is actually pretty terrifying, because this technology will come for everybody, all of us, regardless of what you do or what your business does. You will eventually become irrelevant. And it pains me to say this because I love entrepreneurship and business and tech at face value. But if you look at what AI is, it's just these hyper advanced machine learning models that aggregate concepts, language, and data that already exists. And it exists because human beings put in the work to put it out there. When you prompt Midjourney to spit out an image, it's not making it up. It's giving you composites of hundreds of artworks and photographs and paintings put together by artists all around the world, things that took them hours or days to complete, and it's compiling them into an amalgamation of that in just a couple of seconds. That's why AI images, no matter what the style, no matter what the prompt, they all kind of have this similar vibe. It feels AI, and it's because AI isn't capable of creativity, at least not right now. It's just doing its best to combine the creativity of actual human artists into something that feels new. And this is exactly the process of innovation that every tech company follows that I just explained to you. The infrastructure and hard work already exists. Big tech comes in and takes advantage of it and monetizes it without compensating in any way the people that built the infrastructure and are running the show in the background. AI just takes the best of what human beings have already produced, repackages it, gives it to you in a few seconds for almost free. And once everybody is used to using this and dependent on it, creatives who are actually the inputs for this technology, they're going to give up because human beings can't compete with this. And when that day comes, there's two things that are going to happen. First, when AI has total market saturation, prices of those services are going to go way up. But the quality is going to collapse because there's going to be no more true creative inputs for AI to tap into. And all of the movies, ads, shows, books that we consume, it's all going to be AI generated, but it's all going to feel the same. It's just not going to be what it used to be. And we'll notice this, but we won't be able to quite put our finger on what's missing. But this goes just beyond the quality of what we consume, because point number 2 is going to be the collapse of civilization. It will happen this way because the people behind this technology couldn't give two shits about what's good for mankind. If they did, they would put a cap on this project. And I hate saying this because I love AI. I use it every day. It makes my workflow better. It's fun to mess around with. But just like nuclear tech, once we let the cat out of this bag, it's never going back in, and the world is never going to be safe because all these advancements are not going to help you. They're not going to help me. They're just going to help a handful of people that already control most of the world's wealth and resources, and they're just going to use this to capture more because this technology has the ability to replace every single person in every single industry eventually, and the people behind this tech have a plan to make that happen. But there is no plan for what happens to your family when you are relieved of your position because you're no longer needed. And that is going to happen to the tune of tens of millions of people and families. There is no thought being given to how we structure a world where everything is run by technology. Because if we've learned anything about tech companies' business models over the past 2 decades, it isn't about making mankind better. It's about maximizing profits every single quarter. And truthfully, what's good for people is bad for business. That's why all of our cell phones and tech devices contain conflict minerals that are mined by slaves. And does it have to be that way? No, because we could be still running on iPhone 10s with software updates until the hardware just can't keep up. But Apple needs to keep printing its next 10, 20, 30 billion dollars. And the only way it can do that is by innovating and moving the charging ports and removing buttons and small improvements to their product so that we keep buying what we think is better every 12 months. And big tech is so sneaky because they always market themselves as progressive and green and sustainable, but they're anything but. And AI as a technology, in terms of its application, has nothing to do with creating a more sustainable world where human beings have less work to do and more leisure time and a higher quality of life. That will not happen because the big tech business model is all about consolidation and control of inputs that already exist. It always has been that way, and AI is no different. And I would say we need to do something about this, but I don't want to waste my breath because anyone who has the capability to stop this train that's starting to roll, they won't do anything because they don't give a shit. Tell me I am wrong in the comments. Jeez.